Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi my loves, it's CHANGE.TROYCE and you're watching Choice TV. For today's video, I wanted to get on here and I wanted to discuss Nicki Minaj and the fact that her fans are turning on her.
I only support Trump because I'm going broke and I need the money.
Now, let me just start off by saying, Troyce Raven-Symoné Baxter acts again. Barbz, they always try to paint her as the victim, and that's where my issue comes into play. When you enable somebody's behavior, you literally put yourself in a predicament where you feel like you always gotta enable that person's behavior. And the minute her fans get to a point where they switch up and they turn on her, they're gonna throw a whole bunch of shit in her face. I literally saw this coming years ago where I said eventually her fans would turn on her, and we've been actively seeing this. People have been going in on her on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and many other platforms, and there's been a lot of smear campaigns on the media where a lot of people are very pissed off at her because many people feel like she's already chosen a side. So if you guys haven't heard, Nicki Minaj was recently invited to AmFest, which is an American conservative festival that was recently hosted in Phoenix, Arizona. She got tons of backlash because she was invited by Erica Kirk, who we all know as Charlie Kirk's widow. And if you know anything about Charlie Kirk, you know that he was very right-wing and very traditional when it came to his Christian beliefs, abortion, and women, and much more other things.
Is the great replacement theory. They want to replace white Anglo-Saxon Christian Protestants with Mexican Nicaraguans, with El Salvadorians.
You're comparing abortion to the Holocaust.
Absolutely I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
I never had a problem with Charlie Kirk, nor did I dislike Charlie Kirk, because it's his fucking opinion. Who cares? However, Nicki Minaj getting invited by Erica Kirk, that already stirs a lot of controversy and brings in a lot of attention. And that has people thinking, what is Nicki Minaj truly trying to accomplish? Because when she was there, she was asked to read some of her tweets criticizing liberal laws in California, because as y'all know, she is a California, Los Angeles resident. And she also was brought on to speak on, the issue with a lot of Gavin Newsom's laws, who's been trying to push for, more trans rights and more trans visibility in schools and learning and much more things. And she's been very critical about so many things. And she credits it to being a mother, being a lot more, headstrong with her religious beliefs.
Okay. One more.
Why not? Imagine being the guy running on wanting to see trans kids. Haha, not even a trans adult would run on that. Normal adults wake up and think they want to see healthy, safe, happy kids. Not Gav. The Gav nots. Gav not in, Gav out. Send in the next guy. I'm bored.
So I'm just going to let you riff. I want you to say whatever you want to say,
Well,
Mr. Newsom.
Dear Newscom, we don't have a problem cleaning up the scum if we have to. Please tread lightly. That's what I would say to Gavy Poo.
Gavin Newsom is the governor of California. More specifically, a lot of people in Los Angeles don't like him because he doesn't clean up a lot of, central cities. He doesn't take care of a lot of cities. He is very liberal and he very much panders towards, very radical, liberal people, which is fine. But, when shit isn't getting done and things such as, trans rights being talked about in school books is the main talking point in his campaigns, it becomes ridiculous.
We didn't get into trans sports. That's an issue no one wants to hear about because 80% of the people listening disagree with my position on this. But it comes from my heart, not just my head. It wasn't a political evolution. It was
position being that
I don't think it's. I want to see trans kids. I have a trans godson. There's no governor that's signed more pro-trans legislation than I have, and no one has been a stronger advocate for the LGBTQ community.
Now, California is one of the most progressive and liberal states, and let me just say, the reason this conversation keeps coming up and the reason why Nicki's so passionate about it is because the transgender athlete by the name of A.B. Hernandez recently went viral for being born a man and is now a trans woman, and she's basically in women's track and field.
A.B. Hernandez has been competing in track and field and volleyball here at Yoruba Valley High School in Riverside since her freshman year.
It's definitely crazy. I mean, I get a lot of like hate comments, but I'm like, I don't care. Like, 16-year-old girl with a mad attitude, like, you think I'm gonna care?
When A.B. Hernandez was outed as a transgender, she had no idea what to expect next.
I mean, I kind of just tried to fly under the radar because, you know, trans athletes get a lot of hate.
But soon protesters were showing up to her track and field meets where she's been competing in triple jump, high jump, and long jump for 3 years.
They picked the right kid for us, the wrong kid for them, because like they said, we will not back down.
Protests followed her through the season, including the state championships last weekend.
It's just weird at this point. I mean, they followed me for a whole season.
So this is the stuff that goes on over here in California. For those of y'all that don't live over here, this is the kind of stuff that makes a lot of people not like Gavin Newsom. Hence Nicki Minaj's animosity towards him since she does live in LA.
And for young men, don't be new scum. Yes, see, dear young men, you have amazing role models like our handsome, dashing president. And you have amazing role models like J.D. Vance, our vice president. And when I say that,
Nicki Minaj, you have officially crossed the line. I am a longtime Barbz, so before any of the Barbz try to come at me and say that I'm a hater of Nicki, I don't like Nicki, I'm literally wearing the merch I got from going from her tour twice. Also a signed CD up there. Now, the only reason why I'm addressing this is because I had a few comments, and also I'm very much so a proud Barbz. As of the past year, it has been so hard to continue my support to Nicki Minaj because of the way she's supporting the current administration right now. I have saw past, you know, her husband, and I have never condoned that, and I never really liked him. I never supported that at all, and I was just like, you know what, it is what it is. I love Nicki Minaj, so that's something I'm willing to look past.
Understanding why y'all are confused about this whole Nicki Minaj and Erica Kirk when literally the answer is so clear. This is why she was with Erica Kirk. This is why she's all of a sudden so pro-Trump. This is why she's now MAGA. And this is why she's so pro-Trump. What we are seeing right now is her trying to be so different from what her ops are.
I don't know how much Nicki Minaj is getting paid. I don't know how much Nicki Minaj is willing to go to get her citizenship. I don't know how much Nicki Minaj is willing to do to help her husband. But Nicki Minaj sitting on a stage with Erica Kirk is exactly what I tried to tell y'all in November, and all the Barbz want to get on me. But listen to her.
this administration is full of people with heart and soul.
So if I support her, that means by proxy I support this administration, and I can't have that happen. I don't know if my girlfriend is going through some type of psychosis, or I wish her all the best, and I hope that she gets better soon.
But I do not align. When it comes to the trans and the gay community being hurt and upset, I don't know why y'all are shocked. Nicki Minaj has never been an advocate for specifically trans or gay people. She's never gotten on a podium to speak up for trans or gay people. I'm just a little confused because Nicki is the same person who literally checked her co-host for misgendering T.S. Madison. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't think she's a full-on homophobe, but what she spread today was very harmful. When have we ever seen Nicki Minaj get on a stand or be at an LGBTQ parade or ever speak up for LGBTQ rights? When?
I have to talk about this, and when I talk about this, I'm going to be so unapologetic about how I feel. The allegations that your husband has further lets me know that you are 100% okay with people doing things to children without consent. Obviously, children can consent anyway, but you are 100% okay with adults abusing children, period. Not to mention, he's spoken out against gay people, and a large percentage of Barbz are gay men.
When people say eat the rich, eat celebs, fuck them, don't support them anymore, people mean it now in 2025 more than ever. Because now we see that we're all at a point in life where many of us are living check to check, struggling, problems are compiling, and we all have less of a fuck to give about our favorite celebrities struggling. So a lot of people are talking with their dollars. A lot of people are talking with their tour tickets and much more because people aren't having it. If people don't fuck with you or don't respect you, no one's going to support you at all. And we've been seeing this very effortlessly with a lot of entertainers lately who have empty studios, empty stadiums. Some of our favorite artists who used to flex on us and tell us how they're on top of the world, only selling like a couple thousand albums on their first week.
Like, I don't want y'all to give a fuck about no numbers with me no more. I just don't want y'all to give a fuck about no numbers, bro. Swear. Like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck if we sell 1,000 first week. I don't care. I don't.
We've been seeing it persistently. So Nicki Minaj coming forth and acting like this, it's not a surprise that people are having a very negative reaction, but she's not necessarily going to be canceled. She even recently stated on Twitter, can't cancel Nicki because Nicki doesn't care enough to actually be canceled. Who the fuck is Nicki Minaj? She famously stated that this week, and it's very abundantly clear that she just doesn't care anymore. And it obviously stems from a lot of other things. However, Nicki Minaj has a strong problem with him because, again, he plays a big role on higher taxes in California, and he also plays a big role on a lot of the strong-ass shutdowns and mandates during the Pandemic Express. During the Pandemic Express, California had some of the strictest rules next to New York City about restaurants, the fact that we had to put on these dumbass masks and you couldn't take them off until you sat at your table, which was the dumbest shit ever in my personal opinion. And he plays a big role in that. And Nicki Minaj never forgot that. And I'll never forget when Nicki Minaj tweeted this. She tweeted a photo of Kamala literally slamming the door behind her and a bunch of people recording her. And it obviously is an AI-generated photo, but Nicki Minaj captioned it, "We did it, Joe." Basically, a play on words for Kamala's catchphrase. And it's so interesting that she tweeted that because, again, if you look closer at the image, it's very clear that this was definitely symbolism for they're going to keep the entire country shut down and not working for another full couple of months to a year. Nicki Minaj never forgot that because she even criticized back in 2021 the mandates with the vaccines. She essentially said that she wasn't sure about getting the COVID vaccination because she felt a way about the fact that one of her cousins ended up getting it. One of her cousins ended up getting it for her husband, and his testicles ended up swelling, and a bunch more. And she got a ton of backlash from the right and the liberal side.
Okay, I have 2 million followers. You have 22 million followers on Twitter. For you to use your platform to encourage our community to not protect themselves and save their lives, my God, sister, you could do better than that. You got that platform. It's a blessing. It's a blessing that you got that people listen to you. And they listen to you more than they listen to me. For you to use your platform to put people in the position of dying from a disease they don't have to die from. Oh my God, as a fan, as a hip hop fan, as somebody who was your fan, I'm so sad that you did that. So sad that you did that, sister. Oh my God.
And she was even used as a political punching bag at the Academy Awards.
We had to get vax to come here, you know what I mean? I got vax. I did not have a reaction like Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend, okay? I got Pfizer. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm bougie, all right? Pfizer, that's the Neiman Marcus of vaccines, you know what I mean?
Then during the Panda Express, she was invited to the White House, and she was invited to personally meet the president, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris to be exact, to discuss health issues and any concerns she may have about the jab.
An invitation to come to the White House to speak with 2 people, the 2 names, what is that man's name? Dr. Fauci, and with the surgeon Nicki Minaj, the same phone call we offer everybody else. What? You think they would offer that to Mookie in the projects? No, everybody else. And I see why a lot of celebrities keep themselves bubbled up. You understand? We're living in a place without free health care. So anybody in this country has the right to question anything about their health. Because if your health mattered that
fucking much, there would be free fucking healthcare, bozos. That you can't speak. You can't speak for the fear of the mob attacking you. If that doesn't give you chills up and down your fucking spine, this is scary. Don't y'all see that we are living now in that time where people will turn their back on you, not agreeing, but people will isolate you if you simply speak and ask a question. Y'all don't see what the fuck is happening?
So Nicki Minaj never forgot that. She might have let it go, but she never forgot the fact that she was criticized heavily just for going against the vaccination. But the thing about Nicki Minaj is she's self-made and she has a very major fan base. She's not going to just disappear because she disagrees or goes against the grain. But I will say this all started where a lot of her fans started to flip on her because of her stance about Nigeria.
Protecting Christians in Nigeria is not about taking sides or dividing people. It is about uniting humanity.
Now, I'm going to be real. I really kind of get annoyed when people talk about the issue involving Nigeria and the fact that Christians are being slaughtered and being offed because it's a little bit inaccurate and stems from a lot of misinformation. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, there has been a lot of corruption and divide amongst Christians and Muslims in Nigeria since the beginning of time. Nigeria is one of the biggest countries in the world, and it's literally the biggest country in Africa, and it's essentially divided by two. It's divided by the north, which the north is mostly Muslim, and they mostly follow Islam, and then it's divided by the south. The south is mostly Christian. Since the south is mostly Christian, they often have different belief systems, different traditional beliefs in terms of like food, the way they dress, the way they eat, and the way they move. And essentially, Nigeria has damn near 100 tribes. And due to that, there's always been division about who's more superior, who's better, who's more powerful, who has the better this, and so much more. It's always been that way. So due to that, Nigeria has always dealt with things such as corruption, where leaders who lean more this way have always felt like they deserve more control here. So the whole entire country has always been divided. However, the country has kind of been the shits for the past 40 years because there has been a extremist group called ISWAP and then another extremist group called Boko Haram that has essentially taken over most of the Northeast. So essentially, Boko Haram and ISWAP are extremist groups that are derivative of ISIS. And essentially, due to them being a derivative of ISIS, y'all know what that means. They have extremist beliefs that involve with being anti-elites, and essentially they believe in taking control with violence. So due to that, they've done a lot of horrific things since I remember hearing horrible shit about the things they've been doing since 2014. Some of them have done awful things such as blocking freeways, blocking highways. Some of them have hijacked ships. Some of them have hijacked, worker trucks. Some of them have hijacked technology. Some of them have looted places. Some of them have even taken over schools where they really ran to schools and they've kidnapped and abducted multiple girls. Like you name it, they've more than likely done it. And they've all done this all for the sole purpose of power.
But although a number of them have been released in the last 5 years, more than 100 of the students are still missing. The Chibok incident showed Boko Haram kidnappings could bring them publicity. 4 years after Chibok, they abducted 110 schoolgirls from the town of Dapchi. Most were released a month later. But one of them, a Christian student called Leah Sharibu, remains in captivity. Her peers say she refused to give up her faith. Since 2013, more than 1,000 children have been abducted by the terror group. The Nigerian military have been criticized for their failure to free those kidnapped by Boko Haram. Low morale and corruption have left the army floundering, but Boko Haram's shifting strategy, including the use of female suicide bombers, has made them hard to pin down.
Now, there's a few of these groups in Nigeria that are extremist groups that have, I'm talking about hijack farms and say, you know what, we don't care that this is your farm of 100 years. We're taking this. We're taking the cattle, we're taking the chickens, we're taking everything, the dogs, whatever. This is ours now, and we're going to sell it overseas for even more expensive. We don't care that this is your house. We're taking it. Like I'm talking about, they've burnt down villages. They've burnt down homes. They've burnt down tribe villages that have existed for thousands of years. They've even gone as far as doing all types of evil shit where they've literally strapped, explosives onto young girls that are as young as 10 or 12 years old. And they'll say, hey, we don't F with this church. We don't F with these Christians. We want you to walk up in there and we want you to show them what's up. So we want you to detonate the bomb that we attach to you, or they'll remotely detonate the bomb. And they've done that for a lot of young girls because young girls are the least likely to be seen as a threat. They've literally tried to invoke fear into people by, telling them, if you don't side with us, you're against us. And if you're against us, we're going to burn down everything. We're going to kidnap whoever we want. They've literally put up tolls where they're you can't cross. You can't bring, your goods. You can't bring your eggs, your milks, and your chickens and, your food to this other side to sell and make money to support your entire family unless you pay taxes. So give us X amount of money or you're not coming through. And if you don't give us X amount of money, then you're going to have to turn all the way back. They've also gone as far as doing all types of shit like how ISIS has done, where they'll literally tell people, sit down, we're going to record you and make it very clear that you want to be released, just so they can get more money from ransom. So they've literally done all types of crazy shit.
I want to beg on mine. CAN, Christian Association of Nigeria, because I'm the only Christian among the 6 of us here. I want to beg that CAN Association should please do something about me to see how I can be released. I also want to beg on Action Against Hunger, Borno State. We are 6 here, all of us are staffs. We went to work. On our way coming back to our base, that was where we were caught. I begged Action Against Hunger. We have families. Some of us have children. I'm begging Action Against Hunger that they should please do something to release us. I also want to count on Nigeria, our nation. We are Nigerians. And we are also working for Nigerians. For Nigeria, I begged that Nigerian government should please, I'm begging again, please, do something to see that we are released, because this has occurred before in this organization, Red Cross, where some ladies were caught, Hawa and Zipporah. They also asked to be released, but because Nigeria did not do anything about it, they were killed.
They've literally controlled the people by controlling the imports and the exports. And that's how real control is done. Whoever controls what comes in and what goes out is the real person that's in control. And they've done some evil shit by telling people hey, you know what, you want to bring your truck into this area, you want to drive by and drive to the city? Sorry, we don't care that the city is 100 miles away from our territory. You got to pay us because, we just put up a blockade over here. We don't care that you have a bunch of iPhones and technology and wires and computers and shit in that truck. Matter of fact, give it to us. Give it to us and we're going to flip it and sell it to China. Or we're going to flip it and sell it to this country and that country, where they'll kidnap politicians' daughters, they'll kidnap people who come from wealthy families, and based on how much money they get, the kidnappings get worse and worse. There's still girls literally kidnapped to this day that are pressured into doing all types of disgusting and awful things to accommodate these grown men that kidnap them. And again, a lot of these girls are, forced into being, military soldiers for them. A lot of these girls are forced into being housewives and much more. So it goes deep and it's dark. And the thing is, I'm bringing this up because Nicki Minaj and a lot of people who are in the Republican or right-wing party, they think this is just, they're just trying to, shut down Christians. They're burning down churches. They have burnt down churches, but they've also burnt down mosques. It has nothing to do with just Christians. This is just an extremist group that hides behind being Muslim that justifies their abuse because of poverty, or justifies it with, politicians are over here stealing trillions and billions and taxing all of us. We might as well take control of what we want and distribute the money between all of us and do what we want and feed the people that are, a part of our side and our team.
In 2014, Boko Haram grabbed headlines worldwide after kidnapping more than 270 schoolgirls from the town of Chibok, sparking a global campaign for their return. Around 100 of the Chibok girls are still missing, and some are thought to have died in captivity. Boko Haram has killed more than 30,000 people, forced around 2 million people to flee their homes, and spawned one of the world's worst humanitarian crises.
A lot of Nigerian politicians are just the scum of the fucking earth. They've done gruesome things to that country where they've essentially funneled billions and millions and trillions of dollars worth of taxes from the workers who just go hard and take care of the economy, and they funnel a lot of that money into their pockets. And Nigerian politicians are so fucking crooked that they don't funnel a lot of the money into their military. So many of the military don't even get taken care of. You know how in France and the UK and America, they take good care of the military. They give them benefits, schooling, housing. They give them a check every single month and a bunch more other shit. They don't do that in a lot of other countries. That's a privilege that a lot of us have if we're from a Western country. In Nigeria, they essentially tell them, well, thanks for fighting for your country. That's it. Keep it moving. And essentially, a lot of them are struggling to take care of themselves in terms of housing. Some of them don't have any money for their weddings, school, food, and a bunch more. A lot of them are struggling in poverty just like any other random civilian, and they fought for the entire country. So due to that, Boko Haram and ISWAP have essentially rebelled, and they've done a lot of horrific things. They've used things such as Islam to justify taking control of the entire fucking Northeast. They've essentially gone to villages and they've completely wiped out people's languages. They've literally burnt down villages, destroyed villages. They've harassed store owners, restaurant owners, farmers, and they've intimidated people for their cattle, their herds. They've intimidated people for their resources, and they've taken them, and they've not only taken them for their own benefit, but they've taken them to literally sell in the black market or to sell to other countries, neighboring countries, for a much more expensive price. So they've done that just for the sole purpose of they're tired of the elites and they're tired of the politicians taking all the wealth. And I'm talking about like these people who work for ISWAP and Boko Haram and these extremist groups, they're horrible. Like they've legit kidnapped little girls off of school buses, forced them into sex slavery. Some of them have even forced them into human trafficking. Some of them have forced these little girls as young as 10 and 12 years old to literally be into arranged marriages. They force these girls into kitchens, making them cook, making them clean, making them hold structure in the households, or making them cook and clean for the militaries, making them be sex slaves. They've done just evil things. And what's even worse is, you know, they will sometimes go to young boys and young girls and they'll manipulate them and tell them, look how bad these elites are. Look how bad these politicians are. Look how they have your whole village suffering. You should join us. Take this gun, take this weapon, and slaughter everyone who disagrees with you. And essentially, it's been framed as them going against Christians, when Christians have been the loudest voices. Christians have been the main people that have spoken out against them. So they have essentially killed, bombed churches. They've really set churches from fires while people were in them during service, and they've done awful things to Christians, such as chopping off their limbs, slaughtering them in front of villages, and much more. Many young boys will join Boko Haram or ISWAP and a lot of these extremist groups, and they'll join them off the merit of, well, you know, I'm struggling back home. And in Nigeria, and especially in most countries in Africa, men are expected to be providers. So they proposition these 12-year-old boys, these 14-year-old boys, and they tell them straight up like, hey, you know, it's their fault. It's these politicians' fault. They're the reasons why we're all struggling and poor. We're doing this because we want to make sure that we all eat. You know, we feed you. We take care of you. So what they do is they'll manipulate them, brainwash them, even though they've kidnapped them from school buses, kidnapped them from city buses to make their army stronger. And they'll manipulate them and tell them, well, if you don't join us, you know, you're going to have to just go on and just, you know, be slaughtered. And a lot of times these young boys don't have a choice, so they do it. And then they'll manipulate them. So sometimes they'll do things such as give them opioids. They'll give them opioids. They'll give them a ton of liquor. They'll give them marijuana. And they'll say, hey, smoke this, drink this, or hey, take these pills. This will make, you know, combat easier. And poverty realistically is the root issue. It's just a fight over resources, a fight over, well, we're taking these cows and this sugar and this, you know, farmland, and we're taking this and we're going to sell it to Congo for this and Chad for this, because politicians are, you know, taxing all these farmers and they're making billions and billions off of not lifting a finger, and that sucks. You know, it's a lot of stuff, but it's mostly poverty. Poverty is not a joke in Nigeria. Although we see Nigerians as entrepreneurial, hardworking, It's not a joke in Nigeria because it's very hard to get past a certain point unless you come from a good family. That's why there's so many arranged marriages. That's why there's so many people in Nigeria constantly trying to get out and go to other parts of the world. It goes deeper. People don't even realize that in Nigeria it's so awful to the point where sometimes you go to hospitals and hospitals won't even have electricity. Some hospitals don't even have clean water. Some hospitals will literally tell people in Nigeria, bring your own gloves or we cannot serve you. Or, hey, bring your own medicines, or try to find another clinic that maybe will sell you medicines, or we cannot help you and cure you. Or, hey, bring your own this so we could do surgery for this. Or, hey, if you want surgery, you got to bring this, that, and the third. And then some Nigerian hospitals will even turn people down because they'll literally say, oh, sorry, if you can't pay cash right then and there, we're not helping you, because doctors got to get paid, nurses got to get paid. In Nigeria, there's like an uproar of nurses and doctors constantly striking because of being underpaid, undervalued, disrespected. Teachers are constantly striking, being disrespected, constantly told that they have to work for free, all while they can't even take care of their family or pay their damn bills. It's horrible. A lot of politicians are doing in Nigeria, where they funnel all the wealth to, take care of them, make sure their kids go to the right schools, send their kids all the way to France, or send their kids all the way to England or America to go to school and get the best education. Meanwhile, the civilians in their city, in their country, aren't even being taken care of. It's just awful what's happening. So sometimes when you see these kind of things, it creates justification for a lot of these young men and these young girls to join these extremist groups. They'll think, oh, okay, whatever, fine. If they're giving me a gun, they're giving me power, and they're giving me food, why not? I guess I might as well, terrorize a whole village and, slaughter anyone that disagrees with me. They manipulate the youth as young as 5 years old. Like, this is okay. This is justified because they're the reason we're living in poverty. So they teach these young boys to, if you see a boat coming this way, make sure you intimidate them and tell them to pay you a certain amount or they can't cross. That's the shit people don't talk about in the media and has existed for literally over 50 years. This whole entire ecosystem isn't built off of, if we find the military or if somebody comes in and stops them, this will stop. This is literally built off of generations. This literally is a network that expands beyond Africa. So there's other neighboring countries as well that are also partnering with this and allow this shit. It's so much deeper than just what Nicki Minaj is talking about. And I wish if Nicki Minaj was going to talk about this, she would talk about it all. And I think Nicki Minaj isn't fully informed to even have an opinion about this kind of shit. And it's a shame that, again, these politicians are just using her as like they're basically using her as a headline to promote whatever the fuck they got going on. But that's all I have to say on that. I hope you guys enjoyed my entire breakdown. I hope you guys can see where I'm coming from. If not, please be sure to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And yeah, that's that. Choice out this bitch. Wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I can't get by. And I never have in my life what's going on. And I say, hey, 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 hey. I say, hey, what's going on? And I step what's going on? Thank you.